And we are live. You're watching on your TVs in Texas and Louisiana on the Smart Money Culture TV network, as well as around the world, streaming on X and YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram and all the rest of them. I'll tell you what, guys, it is pretty nice. It is pretty nice to be back here in Dubai celebrating the Trump win. I got the put together the plan here. I'm here for the Crypto Creators Campus, Crypto Content Creators Campus, as well as to see some old friends and colleagues. I have the great Matt Dixon here with me. We'll be doing the show together here. He'll be joining in a few minutes, as he always does. But I'll tell you what, when I put this together, I figured, okay, if Trump loses, then I'll be out of there. I'll be out of there halfway to Dubai at that point. And if he wins, then I'll be able to celebrate with everybody. So luckily, he won. And I'll tell you what, doesn't matter where you are or who you're talking to, everyone is excited. I mean, I got my haircut yesterday. The guy couldn't stop going on and on about Trump. And man, those last people were just such idiots. And, you know, even if you don't like them, and, you know, and I think that's really one of the reasons why it was so just crazy. I mean, you guys see, what is there? There's 20 million votes that just kind of disappeared, right? So it pretty much cements into everyone's mind, even though actually, to be totally honest, most people are still in denial, even when you bring it up. I say, well, that just goes to show you that 2020 was stolen, and everyone just kind of shuts up. No one wants to talk about it, but it's true. So we have 20 million votes that just disappeared. They just disappeared, and you know, where did they go? All right, so on my X account here, my video is not auto loading. So I'm looking here, troubleshooting. It is working though. Okay. That's pretty funny the way they do that. If it doesn't auto load on your X, of course, you don't get as many people clicking in. But all right, that's where we're at. So live from Dubai, the world celebrates Trump win. Nothing can stop what's coming. That's what everybody's been saying, right? Q is real. Nothing can stop what's coming. That's what they keep telling me. Who's getting fired first? Who gets fired first? I think that's a really big question. Obviously, now all the big names are here. The U.S. election has kicked off the bull run. Freedom and optimism win. I'll tell you what, our Black Swan event, God forbid, could be, of course, another assassination or attempt or worse on Trump. That could be a Black Swan event. But barring that, it looks like we are really just flying. Markets all over the world. Everything's up. People are optimistic. They're optimistic again. And it's crazy, too, because I was talking to my brother David. Of course, David used to be on the show all the time. And we were talking about it this morning. And, you know, it's like, really, everything started going downhill when Biden got elected. Like, it took like a year or two, but 2021, everything was already kind of going to down. And then now, of course, you know, optimism is a funny thing. It's like Matt always says as well. You know, the markets will stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. That's true. Markets are fueled. Markets are emotional, and so you see a lot of that happening right now with everybody just buying. I was on a space yesterday, and people were asking me what to buy and this and that. I said, look, guys, in a bull run, you just buy. You know, I mean, some will do more, some will do better than others, and that's not great advice here. Of course, Matt's over here rolling his eyes at me, I think. But don't just buy anything. But pretty much, you know, you buy in some of the big stuff, you just need to buy. I mean, that's the big thing when we're in a market like this. Now, it's like Alex Jones said, really, okay, Trump got elected. All indication is he was elected also in 2020. This is like the historic moment, right? We haven't even done a show since then because I've been traveling and everything else. But now the real work starts. Now it really starts. We're in it. And, all right, so we have Elon Musk. We have the great Elon Musk. We have RFK Jr. I mean, this like star-studded cast that we have is just really unbelievable. But then what happens? What are they going to do next? Who is going to get fired? Is Elon Musk actually going to fire all these people? And are they going to stand by kind of and let it happen? I mean, that's like the other part of it that I just am kind of, I guess, worried about, because what happens? Okay, so we're going to fire 30% of the government. We're going to hopefully close down the FBI, the CIA, the IRS, the NSA. I mean, these guys, they gave the IRS weapons now. These intelligence agencies, they're not going to fold without a fight. So I don't know, guys. It remains to be seen. One thing is for sure, we are in uncharted territory, right? We are in uncharted territory. All right, so I'm sharing now another link because that video was not working in that one. So here we go. Video working here. Yeah. So the real work now begins. Already now, of course, Trump is now getting, I'm sure, full intel briefings on what's going on. Israel seems to be actually in a bit of a disarray. Netanyahu fired his defense minister, I think, and maybe some other people. There's some unrest there. We'll see how that goes. Trump gave the word, at least through the grapevine, that he wanted that war over by the time he got into office. Of course, Ukraine and Israel, they see the ending as well. It's like I've always said, if you stop the funding, you stop the wars. And if the U.S. stops funding all of these wars, then they are going to, the wars are they're going to stop, or get to a point where they stop, because right now, and it's not sustainable either. I mean, that's the other part about it. Like, okay, we have just been robbed so hard the last 4 years. It's unbelievable. When the inflation has skyrocketed, things cost double. The dollars they just keep taking the value out, tell us it's 3% inflation when it's more like 20 or more. And they've taken the wealth. And even in the crypto space, guys, I come around, I see my guys, and we were a lot wealthier, I can tell you. Most of us were a lot wealthier 4 years ago. That's just the way it is. But it's coming back. And so that's everyone's very optimistic about it. It's amazing that Trump can have such an effect on the markets. And that goes back to, again, like I say, the emotional part of it. Here at this Crypto Creators Conference, I have the thing over here. Anyway, we have some pretty big names here. CCCC.buzz. Just right off the bat here, of course, we have Mario Nafal is here. We have Zach King, Panda Boy, Humphrey Yang, Nick Tran. I guess I can share my screen. Some of this stuff here. One of the reasons why I was so excited to be here, of course, we are in the final stages of this 88 station buyout with the Smart Money Culture TV. And so a lot of these people, maybe they're doing Spaces, or maybe they're doing YouTube, or any of these other ones. But guys, look, with Trump coming in, we have the first pro-Bitcoin president ever. The first pro-Bitcoin president ever. And this is about to go wild. So you're going to see a lot of stuff on your TVs in coming up. And these people, they haven't been able, we've had to make our way on X and on YouTube and getting banned and, all these other places. And now you're going to see a lot more of this going mainstream. And so that's one of the main reasons I'm here. Get us some new people, some new content here on the TV station. Of course, some of you, if you're watching on your TVs, you know we're on twice a day. Local time there, 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. And just to show you guys kind of what that looks like, I'll share this tab. You can go to the Smart Money Culture TV and website,
you're going to see a lot more of this going mainstream.
See we're on live right there. Okay, you can see that.
Get
So
us
with this
new
88
people,
station deal, we'll be in 30 different states. I don't want to get into too much more of the details of all that because you never want to jinx things, right? But that'll be pretty big. So super excited about that. I'm very optimistic about where things are going. Solana's over $200 right now. It is going here. Let me just I'll name off a few. Where was Bitcoin last night? I thought, okay, well, Bitcoin's going to pull back now, and oh no. Everyone just keeps buying. 76,000 on the Bitcoin. We're basically at all-time highs. The futures. Let's see here, futures. Dow futures down slightly, but basically tepid. Gold, and we'll talk about more of this stuff with Matt here in a second. Anyway, it's not giving me the page I want. I'm in a different place. Gold futures down slightly. All right, so it's, everything though has had a big run up. It's all had a big run up. The market's run on optimism. So good stuff. Matt's like, he's talking about the markets. Get over here. Yeah. Anyway.
Actually,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll need to go and share screen, won't I?
Yep, and you'll have to enter.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Have
that
you given me the link?
Oh, I haven't sent you the link yet. All right, here. So we got Matt Dixon right here. He's setting up.
Yeah.
And you can see here. Actually, you can't really see out there. Oh yeah, you can. So we are on the outer palm, the outer ring of the palm. Let me send this over to you. Real nice here. The W Hotel is where this is at. Real nice place. I've stayed at a lot of these, but I hadn't stayed at the W before.
Yeah, it's one of the top hotels. Beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Open sea. Absolutely amazing. That's why they're running the crypto event here. It's one of the best.
That's why they're throwing the crypto event here. It's another good sign, guys. I talked to my friend Ernesto Contrera, I think is his name. He was one of the early guys in Dash, and we were kind of going back and forth. And I said, "Hey, man, I got the crypto conferences going in Dubai. Everything's happening now. It's all happening, and we're back. We are so back." It's pretty exciting. There's nothing like it when the crypto is going. You can really make so much money when it's going. And speaking of that, actually, my Dalgo guys, Dalgo. I should play these guys real quick. Their anthem. My friend is logging in here. So Dalgo with a nice pump yesterday. Now remember, P Gold and Dalgo, these are assets that have liquidity locked in through Algorand. And so Algorand, of course, is up, down, and all around a little bit. It is. But I think pretty much scraped across the bottom here. So while Matt's loading up here, I'm going to play the Dalgo Nation here. It's Dalgo. I have to. I can't really do that. I can't share my screen with audio because I will plug into the audio. Okay, well, anyway, I'll talk about it a little bit. So Dalgo and P Gold. Token Gold started with, it was by Whales of Token Gold and Algorand. And they watched and burned the Algorand.
Bitches gonna feel it free.
Yeah, that happened to me the other day too. Can you just click it?
Doggo, we falling worldwide. Need money, we can't hide. Pumping tags like it's FOMO in the streets, no time for
Need to be in another browser. Copy it from here.
It's a vibe. Haters watching, trying to snipe. We bring the heat, no denying. In the club,
sometimes, so they started with the locked algorithm, and then these guys started with the Dalgo, the Dalgo, which is their meme coin, with the locked and so even with this pullback house in the market pretty well, and now I'm just super bullish on this one. And I really am that we are going to really hard. I think below 200,000 market cap. These guys are going down. It's a great song here, but I don't want to mess with audio. Matt's over here. He's like doing deals on the side, trying to log on anytime, doing spaces with Mario.
Pretty
good. Okay, let me add here. You want to take off your back?
I can do.
Yeah, okay, we can look over more. He's actually exciting.
Flip the script, we got the clover. But we grinding, never stuck. Doggo making.
You just go right down there. Settings. Virtual background. None. There you go.
Fantastic. So hopefully, yes, wonderful.
There we are. Here we're alive.
Well, welcome, Bruce. Wonderful to have you in Dubai. It's just the capital of the crypto world is right. There's so much going on here. So many events, so many deals going on. Place to be. So I'm really pleased to have Bruce here alongside me.
Pleasure.
Alongside him in his hotel. But what amazing few days we've had with crypto. So the Trump win has caused the Trump pump. So the pump has absolutely taken off. And I can't deny I've been caught out by it. I didn't expect this sort of aggressive pump. I'm still a little bit wary, and we just see this. I think we're both using the same internet here, and it's just anyway. I think we're still in a big sideways consolidation. We're in danger of breaking higher. If we do break above what I've got labelled as a wave 3 there, which isn't showing full screen, but if we do break above that, we're going to head to the moon.
The moon, the mystical moon.
Here we are.
A lot of money there. I hear there's a lot of money there.
Yeah. It's loading still, but this Trump thing has been. People love it. The markets love it. We've seen, the stock markets. What do we have? I think it's a 1,300 point pump on the Dow when his election win was confirmed.
It finished off the day 1,500 points.
1,500 points.
I had never seen a 1,500 point day actually.
I don't think I have either. Yeah. So, pretty amazing. So there's the Dow, the Nasdaq, the indices have just been going crazy. So we're getting close to that level. We discussed it a number of shows back on the S&P 500. Mine is still really slow sharing, but we're approaching that 6,000 level. That's really important, I think. Potential turnaround. I don't think it's a long-term turnaround. I think this is just there's been so much profit to be taken out of this. What did they say that the top 10 richest people, their wealth has grown by 64 billion, was it?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we talk about too, the inflation. And I talked about it in space yesterday. If you guys were enjoying us there, the inflation is really a tax on the poor, because the wealthier are primarily, pretty much. Your house value goes up, your asset value goes up. The different things you're holding goes up, the dollar goes down. So if you're in dollars primarily, you're the one getting taxed.
The only issue is, whatever views are on Trump, positive or negative, he has inherited a pretty nasty situation. So there's a lot of things that Trump wants to do, and you'll know far better than I do the things he wants to do. But in terms of the tax protections and that kind of thing, these are all potentially inflationary. And we've seen that the Fed are now they're basically on a cycle of reducing rates. So I was quite surprised. I asked the question on X last night, why are they reducing rates? I don't quite understand why they're reducing rates when the economy is still booming. We've still got inflation above target. And this has raised questions about whether Powell is the right person to be in the job. Who knows? I guess they know stuff maybe that we don't know. Maybe the economy is showing some signs. We know employment or unemployment has ticked up. So maybe that is one of their mandates, to maintain stable employment. So maybe that's the reason. And they are looking for a soft landing, of course, but we still have big problems with inflation. And with the Trump policies as they are, it's looking to be potentially more inflationary. And that is one of the reasons why the markets are pumping like crazy. If there's more money available in the market, and actually he's quite pro-business as well, so there's a lot of enthusiasm in the market, a lot of euphoria right now. This is what's really driving things. So, I mean, S&P 500 we can see here, but let me just mention to you a couple of little warning signs. Obviously, we've got here what we now know as regular bearish divergence. That divergence is currently in play. This is on the 4-hour chart. So we can see higher highs in the price peaks and lower highs in corresponding RSI peaks. Now, what was really interesting was we had a bit of a fallback because we had that divergence in place a bit further back here. And then we had a fallback in price. So if we just look at where we went up to there, that signaled a downturn in price, precisely what happened. But then we got hidden bullish divergence. That's where you get higher highs in the troughs, the price troughs, and lower highs in the corresponding RSI troughs. So that told us, if you went short here, that's exactly the time to close your trade, and it was spot on. It actually aligned perfectly with the Trump pump that we've had and taken us to brand new all-time highs. And as I say, I've been saying for a long time, I mean, I've got here the important Fibonacci extension at about 6,100, stay there, just overhead there. There's real potential for the market to turn around from here. Maybe not long term. I think long term things are still looking good. There's still a lot of enthusiasm around maybe what Trump is going to be doing with the economy, but the economy is
and just he doesn't have anything right now. It's just all fueled by optimism, right? Everybody's just, oh my gosh, we're going to the moon. Once he gets in, hopefully we'll get some regulation, loosening, and some policies. We'll get some policies from him.
Yeah, I mean, for Bitcoin, if he was to pass some kind of Bitcoin bill or something of the sort, that would be absolutely take Bitcoin to the moon, and we would be talking about, those things that have been talked about. $1 million Bitcoin, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, who knows, but it could take off really, really fast. And we said right from the start of this that we had the retail adoption phase, 69,000, and that long pullback with the FTX crash down to 15,000 odd. And then we've had the ETF, and we've basically now got the institutional adoption phase where we're potentially seeing Bitcoin go to the moon. We're now obviously new all-time highs yet again, 70 as we speak now, 76,000 plus. My immediate target, I mentioned again months back, next target for me is 84,000. We could easily reach that within days, who knows. It's like you can't catch, they say don't catch a falling knife. Now this is the opposite, the market's going crazy to the upside. Don't try to sell the market in anticipation of a turn. Trend is your friend. These are all things that traders live by. And when the trend is, as you can see from that chart, very, very clearly high, that's the SPX, but there's a lot of the assets are looking similar. Trend is your friend while it's pushing higher at all-time highs. It's going to turn at some point. All the news right now is positive. So the Trump news is positive. The interest rate news, we had 0.5% at the last meeting, 0.25% last night, reductions. He's talking about more reductions. He's talking about normalizing interest rates to a lower level. He still says that interest rates are restrictive. This is Powell, of course, speaking.
Now, you see, today we get I think we get an announcement today, right?
No, it was last night.
Last night.
Yeah.
I was sleeping.
I
had a rough time sleeping.
Give him a break.
My wife's giving me a hard time. I'm like, Yeah, I mean, whatever, you're with your wife, whatever. She just has no idea. I can throw myself in this aluminum tube, hurl myself across the world at 350 miles an hour, can't sleep at all. Like, sometimes I'm in business class. This time I did it. And you get here, 8 something in the morning. Anyway, whatever.
So you missed it last night. I was up last night, basically interviewing on this on Spaces, looking at the commentary, the press conference, the interest rate decision. Some people were saying, no way can he drop rates. Other people were saying, yeah, he can't stop because we're in a cycle, we're in a cutting cycle right now.
It would have just crashed everything.
Yeah, if it got cut, I guess it would, because it was actually 99.5%. The market was actually had assessed it as 99.5% chance of a 25% basis point cut. So I don't really know. Maybe it's just for news talk, I don't know. But how people could say we're not going to get it cut. Yeah. But I asked the question just because I wanted the reasons why we're cutting. What do they know that we don't know? Is the only reason it can be, I think, is that unemployment is ticking higher. That's the only reason I can think, and they must know more than we know about behind the scenes what's going on with the economy.
It does put out warning signs, doesn't it?
But this is creating problems for the future. It will create more inflation. We may see, I think this happened, if I remember rightly, back in the 80s, where they thought they conquered inflation. They started to lower rates, and inflation took off again, and it resulted in much higher rates. They had to pick up rates again. Now, that's something the Fed don't want to do, because it makes them look incompetent. So let's hope it's not this time round. But if inflation does pick up again off the back of these lower rates, they're going to have to start raising again. And that's not what the market wants to see. And that could interrupt things. The other thing, looking at potential black swans, things that could affect the market. I understand this, and again, don't know how true this is. We only hear what we hear on the news. But Iran are potentially looking at some sort of strike back against Israel now. So if that was to happen, Israel are also talking, by the way, about the next phase in the war, whatever that might be. So I do think longer term we will see a peace process, and a more enduring peace process. There'll be a lot of talk, and hopefully get things on a more peaceful footing. Same, I know Trump's been talking about bringing back peace in Russia. Ukraine, hasn't he?
I mean, he said he's going to do it. I watched one of his interviews the other day, and they kept asking, well, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? And he's like, typical, but he doesn't know how to do it, right? He says, well, if I told you, then it would work. Okay. If I told you, it would work. I mean, typical Trump. He doesn't know how to do it, but he knows both guys. And he's going to go in there and try to do it, right? And that's at that moment when he goes in there to do it, he's going to use whatever leverage he can. He's convinced the world that he can do it. And I think that he probably will be able to.
Well, I can, obviously you're here, America. You have your point of view. I know what the rest of the world is saying. A lot of the rest of the world is actually saying that America is the cause of this war.
Well, exactly. We are. We're funding it. We fund everything. It drives me insane. It's all
if that's the case, then America have basically the solution to the war.
Yes.
So Trump can potentially end the war.
You're absolutely correct. He can win the war. Like I've said from the beginning, if we stop the funding, then we stop the war. And so it's not that hard. It's not even going to be that hard to stop the war.
Yeah. So from a market perspective, if those things were to happen, I think we're going to get, because as I say, all the news right now is positive and the market's pumping like crazy. We've got to get a pullback at some time. The market's got to take a breather. And I just showed you the bearish divergence in place there. I just showed you on the S&P. If we look at Bitcoin, for example, I mean, Bitcoin's all-time high right now. Just see any divergences in place there. You can see it's gone higher than I expected, that's for sure. We've got clear divergence in place here, so I'll just draw it on for you to see. So we've got clearly higher highs in price, which is that arrow, that line on there, and we've got a corresponding lower RSI. So what that's telling us is that this high in the market not actually pushed up by volume. So it's telling you most likely a lot of the big institutions have already taken profit at this all-time high, around this all-time high. There's not an awful lot of volume in compared to what we did have, because the volume was much higher previously. This new high isn't accompanied by volume. So it's telling you that it's a relatively precarious all-time high right now in Bitcoin. So there's real potential for a pullback in price. So as I say, all the news is positive. When everybody is positive, everybody is buying right now in the market. There's much less room for new buyers to come in. And so basically there's only one way for it to go. Now at the moment, yes, it's pumped to all-time highs. That could be still be some kind of correction, A down, B up, C down, something like that, or W X Y, whatever. A corrective, it can still be a correction. The B wave here is allowed to go above this wave here. Not much above 10%, and we're probably in that sort of region now. So there's real potential for price to reverse. Obviously, we're no longer rejected from the previous all-time high. We did go through it. But what I'm saying is there's real potential because all the buyers surely are in the market right now. There's got to be some time to pull back. But if we pull back, if we get this peace initiative with if Trump actually delivers on peace with Russia, Ukraine, you can be absolutely certain that will be good for inflation, by the way. Because price of oil will go down. We've already seen oil hasn't, oil actually just moving over to oil has been coming down for years.
Yep. Well, and the thing is, too, that they're funding more from inflation. It's not like the money's just sitting there and then they're sending it over. No, they're just sending it over and they're printing the money digitally or for real printing it. And so it's just coming out of. And actually, inflation is one of our biggest exports too. You look around the world, they're trading crypto and USDT and USDC. They're taking on the inflation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So America is the funding currency. It's the world reserve currency. Everything's priced in dollars. If you've got US inflation, there's more money available everywhere, and everything is competitive. So we know that China are basically printing money and trying to pump money into the market, keeping things going. It's all inflationary. UK are lowering interest rates, but then there's counter forces as well, even with the UK. They're increasing taxes and that kind of thing, which is going to dampen the economy and maybe dampen inflation. So the kind of counter forces at play, and this tells us a little bit about the problem that central banks have right now. The fact that they're trying to keep the economies booming at the same time they're trying to control inflation, and these take absolutely opposite, policies to try to control both sides. So that's why there's a bit of a confusion right now with the US, with them reducing rates whilst they've got inflation above target, because they're fighting two completely different battles. They're really on a tightrope. And this was caused, of course, by the money printing of, back in 2008, back in COVID times. And again, it came out in the shows last night. Money printing is not the best way to produce economic growth. It produces asset inflation. So all that money that's printed and created goes into these assets because, people know they're going to go up when there's more money in the system. So they pump it into these assets, and it's a self-vicious cycle of pushing these asset prices up. But although it has some effect on productivity, it doesn't have so much of an enduring effect on productivity. So it is a long-term solution. It's a sticking plaster, and that's why we are going to get some sort of reaction at some point. But again, I think things are still looking bullish. Even if we get a nasty little pullback, we will then again rise to new all-time highs for us in the market. It's good times.
It's time.
Yeah. Just look around again, looking at. As you know, I look at dollar yen quite a lot because it's funding currency. And we can see quite clearly, I think we've had, whether it's here or here, wave 3. Actually, I did measure before, I don't know if it's this currency or which it was, but I was looking at the perfect for wave 3 with 2.618 times wave 1. I'll check which one that was on, but it's a beautiful extension showing me exactly where wave 3 was. Got a wave 4 down, not yet finished, we've got higher to go. So basically, as dollar yen is going higher, that's basically the carry trade. That means risk on, basically. So people can invest in risk assets and expect higher prices. So the backdrop, basically, when you look at various different asset classes, is still quite positive, even though we might get some pullbacks. Pullbacks should still be opportunities to add to your positions, perhaps.
Now, you go talk about the yen a lot, and just kind of run through real quick. I know you already changed screens here, but why the yen is so important.
Basically, I'll go back to the yen. So I've been following yen for years. It's actually how I made a lot of money back in the 2008 crisis, because what the yen for a long, long time has basically had virtually zero interest rates. They raised by a fraction the other day, but there's still almost zero interest rates. So if you're a speculator, you want money to invest into things like Bitcoin, like the S&P 500. Where do you borrow it from? Well, you don't borrow it from the US, where you're going to have to pay 5% interest on your money, plus you borrow it from somewhere where it's zero interest to borrow the money. So you borrow it from Japan. So basically, you're borrowing from yen, and then you invest that. You basically effectively then sell the yen and convert it to other assets like dollar. You can even do a nice, pretty well risk-free trade by investing into US Treasuries. You get a fantastic return on US Treasuries, and you just borrow the money for nothing from Japan. So that's the carry trade. So what's
famous carry trade, and this is what crashed the markets a couple of months ago. Was they made the very slight
raise in Japanese rates. So it's painful, because when they increase Japanese rates, the carry trade relies on the yen actually continuing to weaken and weaken and weaken. So you're getting dollar yen going higher and higher and higher. That's the carry trade building up and building up and building up. Now, when you get a black swan event or something like the Japanese, I mean, the rest of the world are reducing rates, the Japanese increase rates. So they recognise they've got inflationary problems, so they still have inflationary problems. Japan are talking about raising rates again, maybe April, so no rush. But this could potentially have another nasty effect on the market, because when they raise interest rates on the yen, all those people who borrowed the money from the Japanese currency, the yen, basically the interest rate's gone up on it, so they're having to pay more to borrow in yen. They then have to basically sell their risk assets, pay back yen. So when you sell the risk assets are going down, you pay it back into yen. The yen goes up, that sends dollar yen down, that's the carry trade selling off. So again, it's a cycle. It's basically going down the drain, as it were. So that sell-off of the carry trade can be nasty. It can be quick, and as it was a couple of months back, it was a quick sell-off. When eventually there's some nasty black swan event, the yen carry trade will absolutely collapse. So again, we'll see this. It looks like we're getting 5 waves higher, following 5 waves higher. It could even be this, it's hard to tell, but this could still be a large correction. We could crash to much lower. And the one I like to watch, because obviously being British, I watch the pound a bit. I still have quite a bit to do the pound. Again, we saw this one before it happened even. At the 50% Fibonacci extension of the previous wave, we had perfect regular bearish divergence on the pound. That told us that the pound was going to sell off against the dollar. We've got a number of things that happened. Dollars looking strong because the economy is booming. The UK economy isn't booming, so people don't want to invest in the UK. They want to put money into dollar, so they sell off their pound holdings. That's what happened here. But we got the signal beforehand, and we even got, just look at this, this is on the 4-hour. But anyway, it's a death cross basically on the 4-hour.
The pound, you got the death cross. Oh man,
more important, it's on the daily. Let's just see where we are on the daily. Okay, we haven't got a death cross on the daily yet. The daily is important. We actually got the last message we got in terms of this was actually a golden cross, and that was back in January this year, January 24. We got a golden cross with pound against the dollar. That was telling us that the pound dollar was going higher, and it's exactly what happened. So we can see it. It's beautiful. What a signal. But then we got the regular bearish divergence and signaled the exact top of the 50% fib extension here. So all the signals were there telling us to sell off. If we get a death cross, so if we continue to move down with the pound and dollar stays strong, we'll get what's called death cross, and that would signal a continuation of downside for the pound. So pound is looking, a little bit.
Well, it's interesting because for pound too, US, we have lots of resources. We have actually basically a lot of untapped. We have plenty of oil. We have fracking. We have all this stuff. Great Britain does not have that.
Not to that extent, no. We haven't. I mean, we do actually have oil. The problem is with Great Britain. I don't even like to call it Great anymore. Just Britain. We used to be great. We can't hang on to forever. But I'm British, so what they want us to do well, of course. But they banned fracking in the UK.
Yeah.
So we can't get our own oil out of the ground. And a lot of these, people say fracking is dangerous, etc., etc. Well, I'm really not sure. It's dangerous for us economically when we don't frack, and I'm sure there are safe places. And America's thriving on it and getting an awful lot of their oil, and technology's moved on so much. Fracking technology's moved on.
Yep.
So there's oil there in the ground that we're not using. Maybe it'll stand us in good stead for the future. Who knows? But for now, you're right. We've got no resources. Even those resources we have, we don't use them. But we are doing quite a lot on the green side. There's a lot of windmills in the UK. They're doing more and more with wave power as well, I think. So.
The interesting thing about oil too is they told us our whole lives that there was a limited amount of oil. There's a limited amount of oil they told us in the world, and that just doesn't seem to jive. It appears that there's tons and tons of oil, and maybe they're even producing oil. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like the whole global warming thing. I don't know, guys. Okay, but it doesn't seem like we're running out of oil.
But that was an interesting thing. There was discussion years ago. There's always been confrontation in the Middle East between Israel and its neighbours, and there was discussion about why Israel's got no oil, etc., etc. But now they've actually got some of the biggest gas reserves in the world that they've found. So there's good reason.
Right off the coast of Gaza. I just laughed. There's dead people, a lot of dead. I'm sorry.
But this continues. This shows why there's interest. Why is interest from Russia? Russia's supporting all the Arab nations around. America's supporting Israel, and maybe it's about the oil and the gas.
I'm sure it has something to do with it. If it's not just about that. I mean, these people have been fighting for a long time, but I'm sure.
Yeah.
Some big reserves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So. Things have changed because they've found new reserves. The fracking technology has. I think they're getting way more oil. Oil reserves that used to be redundant because they basically gained all the oil they thought. Now the technology has moved on so much. There's much more available than was. So everywhere's awash with oil, and then we've got all these renewables coming into place. Who knows if we ever get nuclear fusion? Obviously, right now we use nuclear fission to produce energy, but people don't like it because of all the radioactivity. But if you have nuclear fusion, which is actually combining hydrogen to produce energy, when we've mastered that and the technology is moving on, who knows when, then oil will be pretty much redundant. But just be using it to make polythene and plastic and whatever. It won't be used for energy anymore. So there's that. This is quite interesting, just to finalise on oil. This shows I've got Russia-Ukraine there. That was the peak of the crisis there, where the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine crisis actually when oil price peaked. Since that time, it's fallen and fallen. And if we do get Trump creating or bringing about peace in that area, then oil will continue to fall. Saudi Arabia are talking about increasing oil production. Now, of course, OPEC want to keep oil production under control because they don't want too much supply. But then the likes of Saudi, they rely on oil so much, they want the money from it. They're actually trying to build the tallest tower in the world. I don't know if that's still going on.
And that whole cube thing, right?
They've shelved that for the time being.
No way.
Yeah. So Saudi need money. And that's why they're going to produce more oil. So maybe the world is going to be awash with oil.
Wow.
And potentially that could be the reason why we're seeing oil price just continuing to fall. And if we get this, as I say, the peace in Ukraine, Russia, it will fall much further.
$30 a barrel.
I mean, don't forget back here we had negative oil.
We had negative.
Yeah.
There were tanker ships off the coast of the Caribbean. They were contacting us. You can have it for free. Just give us a port where we can drop it off.
Yeah. If only we realised it goes from free to $130 a barrel. So there's a lot of money to be made, and that's just it in the markets. It's not all about what's clear in front of you. As Bruce started the show, the markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, and you have to look for what most other people don't see. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time, one of his famous sayings is, "When there's blood in the streets, that's the time to buy." So when everybody's selling, everybody's desperate, that is the time to buy. So just think about where we are right now. Everybody's optimistic, everybody's buying. I haven't looked at the crypto fear and greed, but I'm sure it's absolutely through the roof. But when everybody's buying, surely that's the time to be selling. So I just think you need to be a bit contrarian with thinking. Obviously, go with that thinking, and I have to hold my hands up, literally. I didn't catch this pump. I was actually not sure what the outcome would be. So much talk about being, being neck and neck on the polls and everything.
Cheating and everything.
Yeah. So I didn't catch it, but as a trader, you don't need to catch every pump in the market. The point is trade risk reward. The point is trade safely. The point is if you had gone all in on this and it gone the other way, you'd have been dead. And the most important thing with trading is, preserve capital. So you're not going to catch every pump, but there's always opportunities. So, so many people think, oh, I missed the opportunity. Don't worry about the past. Look forward. Same with life. No point in crying over spilt milk. Look forward to the next opportunity. And I think the next opportunity, personally, I think, as I say, everything's positive right now. Do the opposite, or do exactly what Buffett says. When there's blood in the streets, buy. But when everybody's euphoric, don't try to catch the falling knife or try to catch a rising market. Wait for the confirmation. But when you get that confirmation, I think there's still a lot of money to be made, and a lot of people have made a lot of money. Well done to everybody who had. As I say, I missed out on this recent pump, but congrats to those who made it, and I'm sure you're one of them.
Well, I mean, when you hold stuff, which I'm sure you do, you missed out on some trades, but it all goes up, right? The rising tide raises all ships. I'm here to buy. Okay, I probably wouldn't be here if the markets had weren't pumping. So,
Yeah, and it's creating a lot of business opportunities that, as I say, this is a really vibrant place. I'm sure it is everywhere in America, everywhere right now.
And now America's going to open up, guys. So that's like one of the things, and I can't bring this up enough, really. And I'm going to talk again and again and again about adding these TV stations and really having this this network in 30 different states. Okay, guys, this is massive. This is huge. And with this regulatory clearance that we're going to get, with this opening up of the crypto markets, I mean, this is really going to explode. And that hasn't happened yet in the U.S. I mean, I know a lot of you guys, you're Trump guys, maybe you watch the show now, maybe you bought some crypto and everything else, but a lot of you guys stayed on the sidelines. Trump didn't like Bitcoin. He was like, I don't like Bitcoin. It's backed by nothing. I like the U.S. dollar. And he was pretty forceful about it. And, then did an about face. He really courted everybody in order to get elected. But one of them he really did court was us, the crypto people. And we were his people the whole time. But I think we're going to see a real explosion. The majority of people in the U.S. still don't own crypto.
Yeah, and I talk to people here on the ground in crypto, and they're saying, America's just being left behind in the crypto world. They really are. So maybe Trump is the guy to make changes to actually want people to open up their crypto companies, because it's exploding, and I think definitely there's a future there. I just wanted to finish, Bruce, just having a quick look at gold, because I know it's one of our favourite assets. And I know we mentioned some time ago that we'd had this, you see on my chart here, an ABC correction down. Following a three-wave correction down, you always expect an impulse to the upside. Basically we're in an impulsive phase within gold, so it's an impulse to the upside anyway. So we've got a three-wave pullback. That's just basically, as we actually said at the time, it's an opportunity to dollar cost average to buy the dips, and that's precisely what the opportunity was here. So we can see the ABC down and then pushing up quite nicely, and I think that we've got a lot of potential to go potentially a lot higher. So that's telling me maybe there's still some uncertainty. Yes, we've had a pullback. Actually, with this recent Trump pump, a lot of money has come out of gold, which is, remember, gold is a hedge, traditional hedge against uncertainty. So we've had uncertainty for some time with the elections, etc., even with interest rates. We've now got a little bit of certainty, and so gold's having a little bit of a pullback. In fact, it was signaled beautifully by our favourite signal here, indicator, the regular bearish divergence here. You can get bullish divergence signals as well. You can get hidden bullish and regular bullish. This one, though, is a it's a regular bearish divergence signal. So it tells us exactly where to sell oil, and it's been moved to downside. At the moment, the RSI is around about the middle of the range, around 40-ish, somewhere around there. So roughly mid-range. So potential to fall further. I definitely think gold still has higher to go longer term, but short term is middle range. So I'll probably be waiting for lower prices for an opportunity to add to my bag of gold. We can see just across the board, by the way, you talked about, again, at the beginning of the show, which ones have the greatest opportunity. So we can see here, most crypto is actually relatively flat, but we have talked a bit in previous shows about ADA, Cardano. That's up 7% today. And I'm always talking, obviously, about Solana, which right now is up 3.5%. So these are better than most of the assets. 3.5% in a single day is not bad.
That's not bad.
So rest of crypto is relatively flat. Injective, one of those nice AI tokens, up 4%. But most of the rest of it is pretty well flat from what I can see. So still a bit of opportunity, but my final word, I suppose, closing word would be, we've had an amazing pump. As I say, congrats to those who got it, but maybe time to protect your positions, lock in profits, and maybe not quite time to short the market because, as I say, don't catch a falling knife and don't try to go against a rising market, a rising trend. But just again, I'm always saying this, be cautious, because the number one rule, as I've said over and over and over again, in trading, most important rule is don't lose money. And when you make a profit, lock it in, because if you never lock in those profits, you never realize a profit. What's the point of trading in the first place? So you need to enjoy some of the profits that you make.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Matt. It is always a pleasure.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. In person here. Oh, man, always a good time. And guys, that is really important what he said there, and that is that you got to lock it in. I was actually having a good conversation with one of my friends who I hadn't talked to in a while, to be honest. It was really great to connect with him again last night. And, with the markets the way that they are right now, it can be brutal. And actually, even talking with guys here downstairs a little bit earlier, when you get a profit, you kind of have to take it, because the days of just opening up some position and letting it ride for months on end, I just don't see it right now, especially just right now. You have AI working against you. You have the market makers working against you. They are trying to liquidate those positions. That's how a big way that they're making their money. And it's really a new style of trading. I mean, years ago, I opened up a position and then I would just add to it and sell as I went along, and it would just kind of go. But it doesn't really seem to be operating that way at the moment. When it goes, you get that profit, you take the profit. Don't maybe jump in right away either. Wait for another good position to be in another good position and open that up. And that's another thing that Matt talks about a lot is, wait until you see that good trade and then enter in the good trade with a nice stop loss and go from there. And I did want to highlight as well, you don't want to sometimes you of course you miss them, but don't be upset, and then don't chase the market. You don't ever want to chase the market. You always want to get into a trade that you think can win, because protecting your capital there is most important. If you don't have anything to trade with, then you're not doing much. So as we always say, not financial advice. We're not financial advisors. We do this show for educational purposes, and of course we're part of the monetary revolution. And so that's why we've been doing it. I will talk more and more and more about us expanding this. And for those of you who I'm talking to now already about putting money into the TV networks, about doing certain things that we're doing to put this together, it is time, guys. It is time to make the move, because this is the moment. You see, Soros just bought however many radio stations. Well, trust me, as we start buying more and more of these TV stations, he's going to see that as well. Cable, guys, cable is out. You don't need cable, okay? Put your antenna out Okay, you already have Netflix and you have whatever else that you want to watch. So more and more people are canceling their cable, and they're going to get their TV by streaming. They're going to get their local news by just an antenna. It's free. It's free TV, and so that's they call them whatever they call them, but that's what we specialize in, and that's local TV. And yeah, pushing it forward. So super excited about it. Great show today, guys. Live from Dubai. It is so great to be back in Dubai. I just cannot even tell you. I used to come here every single month. I was here every month. Then the flight doesn't bother you. And actually, business class, the flight's not bad. It's when you're in there with second class that you're like, okay, this is rough. 14 hours of this. I couldn't sleep either. It's like, oh man. Anyway, always a pleasure, guys. I'll do our little. Where's my brand here, and then we will kick off. And I'll be working all weekend. I will be here. If you're in Dubai and you want to see me, just reach out to me. We're here at the W on the Palm. Cheers.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.